Sergio Pettis, the Bellator Bantamweight champion, who unfortunately is out of the Bellator Grand Prix, but is very kind to give me some of his time today in the off-season. Sergio, great to sit down and chat. How are things at you today?
Things are going good, man. Like you said, I tore my ACL, so I'm out for a while. So, yeah, man, I've just been laying low, trying to speed up my recovery, get better so I can start competing again next year.
What is the mindset going into this injury? Obviously, you've got quite an extended layoff going in. How are you kind of preparing for this little bit of a setback that you're going to have in your career?
Man, I just, it's definitely a mental battle. I'm so used to training and moving around that the first couple of weeks I had to adjust and get used to just sitting back and not being able to do martial arts. So it's been a different journey for me. I know I got a long layoff, so I'm just trying to remain calm through it all, man. It's going to be a long season of not making a lot of good money. So, yeah, man, I'm just thank God that I got a good savings account and, I got the right people around me that are supporting me. So it's been going pretty well.
Fantastic. I did see on your Instagram the other day that you talked about the difficulties of not being able to smoke weed for a little bit of time. What's the process with that? Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. So I've been smoking weed for like my whole career, pretty much, man. I was 19 years old when I started, so I'm a little bit of a late bloomer. But yeah, so I've been blazing pretty much till this point. I tore my ACL, and now I just stopped smoking the last I think 6 weeks now. So just to mentally get my mind right and just to stay, focused. Yeah. Before I feel like I was smoking and training and it would kind of balance itself out. Now, if I just smoke and just lay low and chill out, play video games, it'll get depressing. So yeah, man, I just been trying to that, and I'm about to be 29 years old this year. So I made a promise to myself early on that once I'm 10 years in, I'll slow down and start seeing the other side of life.
I did want to speak about that because I've done a little bit of digging into your history. You joined the UFC, the premier or one of the premier MMA organizations at 20 years of age. You're now probably coming into, I would say last year was probably the first year of your absolute prime, if you like. But was the early part of your career that UFC run and then maybe the beginning of Bellator run? Have you had to kind of learn on the job because you were so young when you joined the big leagues, if you like?
Yeah, man. I think a lot of people that are in the UFC now, they start at an older age. So, they're in a different process. They believe in themselves. They're getting into their man bodies. And with me, it was at 20 years old, I was going through just the trials and errors of life, man. I had to figure out who I was as a person, as a martial artist. And yeah, my confidence wasn't there at all. I was just going through the motions. I had all the physical capabilities. Sorry, my dog. I had all the physical capabilities, but just the mental game, I feel like I lacked that a lot back then. So I feel like if I had a crack at it again, I got in at 26, 27, it'd be a different story.
Looking back, would you have took that initial contract when the UFC offered you it? Or would you have maybe stayed on the regional scene a little bit longer?
I mean, either way, I feel like I learned as I went. Definitely on the regional scene, I think I would have had more like performances where I could gain a little bit more confidence where, I'm fighting top tier guys at the age of 20. And, it taught me a lot though. It taught me a lot. It taught me where my skill set is at and just how professional you have to be in the sport at a young age. So I'm very thankful for that. That was a good part of my journey. I was with the UFC for 6 years. So yeah, man, it's crazy. Time flies.
Time flies. It does 100%. I was actually kind of surprised doing the research to see how early you joined, and even the amount of fights was kind of, it's a large amount. I think 12 to 15 fights in UFC, and then now coming in 4 or 5 in Bellator. It's crazy how many fights you've been able to have, and yet with your age type of thing.
Yeah, man, I've been very blessed. I didn't have any serious injuries or anything until, the craziest part of my career, about to go into $1 million Grand Prix, then tear my ACL. So it was crazy, man. It's a little bit of a blessing in disguise. These last 2 years, I started really fighting for, different reasons. I was starting to fight for that paycheck, and I was starting to fight for materials. And this was just like a humbling situation, man, where I was about to make the most money I've ever made in my life. And it was just taken away from me from training. And now I got to sit back, watch these other people make money, do well. And it's a humbling experience, but I think it's going to make me more hungry. Before my plate was filled already, I was eating. Now it's taken away, and yeah, man, I feel like the hunger's back. And these next couple months, I just really gotta make the right decisions and approach it the right way. I think that's why I did stop smoking weed. I was just like, I'm ready to take myself serious and take this sport as serious as I can these next 10 years, if possible.
One of the beauties of the Bellator tournament system is that the champion goes through it themselves, and that the belt progresses through. In some way, the belt could change hands 3 or 4 times in a tournament. Whereas, say, the PFL, where Anthony's fighting, there's a tournament winner at the end. So I guess if you take your perspective out of it in terms of your career, how much do you think that the Bellator Bantamweight Grand Prix has kind of been damaged with you pulling out? Because as I say, one of the beauties is the champion defends throughout, but in this case, it's an interim title holder and all of that. How much do you think the actual tournament has been diminished in that way?
Yeah, man, I think it was definitely, like you said, a little diminished. Sucks that happened, but I'm glad there is an interim belt now. So like, I know I'll have a for sure set fight against the winner of the tournament. So I guess it has ups and downs. I'm happy for my teammate Raufeon. He's got the belt. Amazing performance against Juan Archuleta. So man, I guess the belt is still going around technically. I'm also happy I got to keep my belt. I know they stripped Horiguchi when he tore his ACL. So yeah, man, I think it's an interesting time for me and for Bellator in general. I think they were a little flustered with me that this happened, but it was out of my control. So
you and the guys down at Rufus Sports haven't been particularly nice to Juan Archuleta in 2021 and 22. First question, yes or no? Did Raufeon outdo your defeat over Juan Archuleta by getting the knockout?
Yeah, man. I mean, personally, I think I took Juan Archuleta's confidence and I took Horiguchi's confidence. If you saw their last 2 performances, they looked like different fighters. I mean, Juan was doing a good job, and then with that wrestling, put Rauf on his back. But no, Rauf's got a killer left kick, man. And something I even know. I was calling that kick even before the fight started. I was like, if Rauf's going to finish Juan Archuleta, it's going to be a left head kick, because I felt the kick before. He's got a strong, powerful kick. It's very dynamic. So, I mean, he did outdo me. Yeah, he did for sure. That was a nice finish, definitely.
I did want to ask as well, because I saw it was kind of obvious the disappointment from both yourself and Raufeon when you were matched up in the first round. I want to know what was your immediate reaction to finding out that your first match in the Grand Prix was going to be Raufeon?
Personally, I feel like I had a feeling that was going to happen. They were just pushing that narrative. The UFC just had Colby Covington versus Jorge Masvidal. And we're both from the same team and kind of the same situation. But in this case, we actually are friends and we like each other, so it's a lot different. But, I wasn't too surprised, honestly. I knew that was going to happen. We both love this sport, and love will make you do some crazy things, man, like fight your friends. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, we both want to be the best. And we were both on the line. We both knew it was coming. And we were actually planning to fight after I fought Juan Archuleta. We talking in the parking lot after we both get back to the gym. He said, "Hey, man, my manager's telling me you might be next. Are you okay with that?" I'm like, "Hey, it is what it is, bro. Like, I love you, but at the end of the day, I got the belt, and you're gonna have to go through me to get that belt."
If you had a bet right now, who is in the Grand Prix final and who lifts that belt and is effectively the mandatory first or the mandatory second events for Sergio Pettis when he comes back?
I think Raufeon. Personally, I think Rauf's going to win the whole tournament. Juan Archuleta's out of the tournament. Horiguchi's out of the tournament. Patchy mixes a tough fight, but I just think Rauf's too skilled for Patchy. As far as his wrestling pedigree is very similar to Patchy's. Patchy's definitely got a good back take. I trained with Patchy for my Brandon Moreno fight back in the UFC, so I know how he feels. He's got a weird stuff.
Excuse me.
But if I had to call it, I would say it's going to be Rauf and Patchy in the finals.
Yeah, I think I would probably agree. I did want to mention as well, Sergio, because when I was kind of thinking about topics I wanted to cover with you today, I was kind of thinking about 2021, which I've seen you do previous interviews where you've talked about it being your breakthrough year, kind of getting out of Anthony's shadow a little bit. And then obviously, if you look at Anthony's career, he had big years where everything went right. I think 2010, where he went on that run in the WBC and won the belt over Henderson at the end of the year, was kind of a big year for him. I guess when you look back on your career, when it's all said and done, how big do you think 2021 was for you in your career and perhaps your legacy as well?
I think it was a big year for me, man. Just to show, how I can build my confidence. I was getting more confident. I came to Bellator, got a nice finish after years of not getting a finish. Beat Ricky Bandejas, which, I mean, it was good on my resume to fight Ricky. But then, everyone was telling me, Juan was going to beat me. He's only 25-2 at the time. And So being his third defeat and being the underdog for both my fights felt good, and to come out victorious and getting that knockout over Horiguchi was a career-changing moment for me, man. You know, I was down 3.5 rounds and hit him with my most spectacular knockout thus far in my career. But
sorry, go on, carry on.
But other than that, man, I think I got some years ahead of me that are way bigger than what I just did. You know, this in 2021. The way I see things going, I see myself going really far. And with this ACL injury, I'm gonna make sure I go really far, man. This year was set me back so much, and mentally, it's gonna change me. I really feel like a different human.
I had to ask about the Horiguchi knockout, because how could I not interview the man who won knockout of the year and not ask him about that finish? I guess what I wanted to ask was, we know, and you've said this in previous interviews, that you were aware that the fight hadn't gone your way early and there'd been a little bit of top control from Horiguchi on the ground. And then you throw a head kick into a spinning back fist, which spinning back fists are brilliant when they land, but they also can be quite detrimental in terms of people getting back control, in terms of people creating a little bit of ground exposure. How were you able to stay so creative and so in kind of intuitive in that moment when you were kind of down on the cards and you needed the KO, if you like?
Yeah, man. I mean, I knew I needed something big, and that fourth round, I felt a shift in the energy. I felt a shift in my mindset where I was going to come forward, you know, trust myself, trust my moves, trust my confidence, and it landed, man. It's a move I throw a lot, actually. People are like, you know, you landed that by luck. I'm like, nah. If you look at my UFC fights, I threw it before in my UFC fights, same move, head kick to spinning back fist, and other people have landed it before as well. So it's not like an uncommon move. But yeah, I just, you know, my coach was telling me like, yo, calm down. You know, you still got 2 more rounds. And personally, I feel like I'm a 5-round fighter. You know, it gets me a while to get warmed up and to get my groove and my feels. But yeah, he threw me off, man. He had such a weird style, in and out movement, was a lot faster than me. I'm usually used to fighting taller people. I'm usually the shorter guy.
Yeah. So
he was shorter than me. So it was a little different. But, you know, I just had to stay calm, stay positive, stay confident, and it just landed.
Tell me the secret, Sergio. Tell me right now, what is the secret with the Pettis brothers' agility, with the Pettis brothers' flexibility, your guys' creativity to just be so dynamic in those big moments? What is the secret? Is it genes? Is it training? What is it?
Man, we started off doing Taekwondo really young, both of us. Anthony, I believe, was 8 years old, and I was 4 years old at the time. So in Taekwondo, you know, you have to have those flexible kicks, spin kicks, have agility. We used to do like demos in creative forms, like XMA stuff. I don't know if you're familiar with that, like extreme martial arts. So, you know, we'd be doing stuff like that, tricking and flipping. We like to show out and have some fun. So I think it definitely transferred over to MMA, you know, same concept in a different manner.
100%. I did want to ask, because now you're the reigning Bellator champion, and Anthony's accomplishments in the sport go without saying. WEC, UFC, now going for a third organisation belt with the PFL. At this moment in time, where do the Pettis brother rank in the pound for pound MMA siblings debate?
Man, I think we're up there, honestly. I know, I believe Nick and Nate are up there. You know, they're OGs of the sport. I know that the Miller brothers, I'm pretty sure that they're, you know, the Hill brothers. Well, yes. I mean, there's some brothers out there that are doing some good things, but as far as gaining belts and getting spectacular knockouts, I think we rank probably number 1, to be honest.
I think it's probably top 3 with yourselves, the Diaz's, and maybe the Shamrocks, perhaps.
Yeah, Shamrock. Oh yeah, I forgot the old school Shamrocks, man. Yeah. Hell yeah, I gotta be up there.
Yeah, 100%. What is the biggest in terms of personality? What is the biggest similarity between yourself and Anthony? What is the biggest difference between you and Anthony?
I think the similarities is that we're both go-getters, as far as like we work hard and we enjoy our work. Differences is Anthony is a natural born killer, honestly, and I was one that had to kind of evolve into being a fighter. I personally didn't think I was going to be a fighter growing up, and even just training. I always thought that I was just gonna have another job or have some other option. And as soon as 18-year-old hit, I was like, man, I ain't going to college. I don't want to go to college. So I started competing. And so, yeah, I think the differences is just, you know, we are different people in general. Anthony's a little bit more flashy, a little bit more confident than I am. I'm more like low key, more just chill out. You know, I do like flashy stuff, but you know, I'm very to myself.
What's the flashiest thing you like in your life, Sergio? When you think of the word flashy, what object resonates with you with that word?
Jewelry. I love jewelry, honestly. Necklaces, watches, bracelets, all the above.
That Milwaukee drip.
Yeah, a little drip, man. Yeah, I need that drip.
I did want to ask as well, because I saw an interview prior to Nick Diaz's comeback where he talked about how his little brother Nate had taken over the mantle of the leader of the Nick Diaz army. Now with you being kind of in your prime, and with Anthony maybe coming towards the end of his career, do you feel like you perhaps took over the mantle of the leader of the Pettis army, or is Anthony still the chief of the clan, if you like?
I think Anthony's still the chief, man. He's still got some years to show what's up, and I still got to build my resume, to be honest. I got my Bellator belt, but I'm not just stopping there. I feel like I got other things to achieve, other organizations to get to eventually, other big names in Bellator that I want to compete against as well. If all goes well next year, I beat the champion, the interim champ. I like to call out Patricio Pitbull and go for another belt in Bellator and fight a bigger name. It'd be an honor. So I feel we'll see, man. I think by the end of this, definitely I'm gonna have a legendary resume, and I'll definitely be able to compete with my brother.
You talked about that, about calling out Pitbull. Is the thought of going up to 145 more tantalizing to fight Pitbull than it is McKee? Because obviously McKee is such a big 45 that I imagine that might be a little bit more of a difficult task than fighting Pitbull. Is there a preference over there of going up to featherweight?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I've always wanted to fight Patricio Pitbull just because of his style, and we're very similar in sizes and heights. He's 5'6", I'm 5'6". I believe I have a longer reach than he does. He's a little bit more stockier than me, but I definitely was looking more towards a Patricio Pitbull fight. McKee, I don't think McKee's going to be at 45 much longer, to be honest. I think he'll be moving up to 55 and fighting the other Patricio brother, or the Pitbull brother.
100%. Well, it's a question. This is the question that I finish all my interviews with, and it's a bit of a strange question to ask because of the nature of we're talking around your injury. But we're at the end of May 2022 now, Sergio. What are your goals in life more generally for the next 12 months? What do you want to accomplish by the end of May 2023?
My goals are just to stay on this route that I'm staying on. Stay sober, stay clean. Get my recovery as good as possible and come back a better man.
It's a fantastic answer, and I think a great way for us to end. So thank you so much for the time today. And it was a true honor to speak with you, my friend, champ.
Hey, man, thank you. I appreciate you. I'm glad we hit each other up on Instagram. I'm glad we made this happen.
100%. Before we finish, Sergio, how can people find you on social media, and anything you'd like to call out, or any sponsors you'd like to plug? The floor is yours.
Yeah, man. Thank Monster for being my sponsor, helping me be good this year. Big thank you to Rufus Sports, Team Pettis. Good luck to my brother Anthony Pettis fighting a couple weeks from now. And make sure you guys tune into his card coming up August 12th. Anthony Pettis fight organizations and do some good things.